Okay, so let's segue slightly. Kind of going back to politics and games, but talking specifically. So in Paranoia, I think I'm right in saying that in all of the Mongoose editions of Paranoia, from Paranoia XP forward, I think I've got them all actually. You changed it from communists to terrorists as the.
We only did that in the previous edition.
Was that the previous one? Oh, okay,
but the one you've got is the only one we did that, and that was, I mean, in the edition that's coming out this summer, communists are back because they're inherently funny. But the terrorists are still there as well. And you can do that kind of thing with Paranoia. We did feel it needed an update. It is primarily a game of satire, and there's just too much happening in the world over the past 20 years to ignore. So we didn't feel the need to update it slightly. So you'll see, I mean, terrorism, or more to the point, Western governments' reaction to terrorism, and within the wider culture as well, I suppose, is something that does need to be picked up on, as does the surveillance state as well. So now the troubleshooters got something planted in the head, so the computer literally can see everything they do.
I did like that. That was one of my favorite parts of the newer one.
And we've got some commentary about hypercapitalism in the new edition as well. But yeah, I mean, the terrorist was just an evolution. I mean, as terrorism leaves wider culture, it'll get muted in Paranoia, and something else will be around.
Yeah, no, it made sense to me, but I always felt like the communism thing was kind of evergreen, and it was kind of a shame that was taken out, because certainly in American society they're still paranoid. Yeah, anything left of Hitler is socialism and Marxism.
There is that. I mean, on the one hand, I mean, the US is obviously a big market, but so is Europe, and there's always something in the back of your head that going, well, we've got actual communists over here. But yeah, the approach is, I'm sorry, I've completely lost the thread there.
I was just saying it was I'm sure it was. I was just saying that it's a shame that the communism got toned down a bit, because that was so evergreen. Yeah.
It's also Gen Z doesn't know what a communist is.
No,
that's the other reason.
Yeah. Look, I study politics and history, right? If I want to get really enraged online, I find any conversation about Marxism, communism, socialism, nobody seems to know what it means, even Marxists. Right? It drives me nuts. But you know, it's happening over here as well now. What they're talking about, complaining about the left-wing economic establishment. Like, what are you talking about?
If you look on, was it? I think it was the Daily Mail today talking about all the nasty left-wing lawyers.
Yeah, notoriously left-wing constituency lawyers. Were you ever tempted to do something about Brexit in Paranoia? Maybe
we did COVID.
Yeah.
We did have, so we looked at some of the new adventures that are getting proposed at the moment are very deep in the satire, to the extent I'm looking at some of them thinking, oh, I don't know if we can publish that. I mean, there was one proposal we had whereby basically a demagogue comes up in Alpha Complex and starts getting people to do things and not necessarily in the name of the computer. It ends up with the troubleshooters joining a mob that assault a public building. And I'm reading that and thinking, okay, that might go down well in Britain.
Yeah, I think Alison, how do you pronounce her last name? Is it Saibay?
I've always thought it was Saib. I might be very wrong in that.
Oh, okay. I think she independently did this adventure about a kobold miners worker dispute or something.
I think I saw something about that. Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing I retweeted that upset her. I said, it's not for me. I don't like my politics quite so bold in my games. But hey, you might like it. So I gave her a signal boost, and she thought that was bad for some reason.
It's an interesting idea. Using RPGs as a medium to explore or indeed promote real world ideas. I don't know if there's any deep future in it, but as I said before, let's explore. Let's see what the limits are, what can be done. You never know what it might develop into. I mean, say in a more covert way, science fiction has been doing this for decades.
Yeah. Social science fiction from kind of new wave, I would say, onwards. Sporadically before that, obviously, you had plenty of social commentary through technology and so on. But I think, the new wave stuff was where it really took off.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, obviously, different world today. But one example I always go back to is the original Star Wars film that's rooted in the Vietnam War, where the Empire isn't the British Empire, it's America. The rebels are the VC. You add a heavy dollop of 60s counterculture into that, a bit of cowboy, and we'll base it all on the Flash Gordon series. It's that kind of thing.
And Kurosawa.
Yes. I'm also thinking the original Starship Troopers novel. I mean, that was making some very heavy social points. They might not be so popular today, but it's all been there. I'm now trying to think back to the likes of Frankenstein and the Somnium, but I think it's the 50s and 60s that really started to kick off.
Yeah, I think Heinlein is misunderstood from people today, looking back, because if you look at his history and his politics, he's kind of all over the map, but there is a common thread. But people tend to kind of write him off as some sort of randroid libertarian these days. I think that's a misread.
It might be for the time, but if it was possible to transpose him into today's world in this year, maybe he wouldn't come off somewhere. I don't know. I didn't know the guy.
Kit says, before it vanished up its own gibberish mystical fundament, the remake of Battlestar Galactica was absolutely a vision of post 9/11 America. Yeah,
I quite like that.
Yeah, it was. I hated the end. That's a trend for me, hating the way things end. It's like nobody knows how to finish a series.
Yes, I saw one a little while ago. I mean, I was watching this. I got recommended a series to watch, and it was a remake of something in the 80s that it was before it came slightly after my time. I wasn't interested at all. But I started watching this thing, and I thought, this is actually good writing, and they absolutely stuck the landing at the end. And the series, this is going to follow me if people watch this stream. The series was the new She-Ra. Brilliant example of how to end something.
Don't know. Didn't watch it.
Watch it. It might be a cartoon series aimed at young girls, but the writing I thought was far superior to a lot of other stuff I was watching at the time.